Hi, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to the 4-in-1 Zoom Town Hall. Today we have Master Sergeant Shante Lopez with us. She's going to be going over the SPD consultant position, and I'm going to go ahead and hand it off to you, ma'am, whenever you're ready.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Master Sergeant Lopez, and I'm stationed at Fort Sam Houston. I am the Air Force lead for the 4-in-1 Phase 1 program. And I've been in the Air Force for 18 years now. So today everyone's here to talk about the SPD consultant position and what that entails. There's currently 3 positions that are within the, or for SPD consultants. What you are responsible for when you are an SPD consultant is being the subject matter expert of SPD, making sure you stay up to date with processes, the AF5 for 44-108, which is our infection prevention and control program, also new equipment that comes out for SPD, and just ensuring that you're staying up to date with all of those things. You work hand in hand with the CFM, and just to make sure the MTFs across the AFMS are following standards, okay? So the requirements for the job, there aren't necessarily written down requirements. So what I mean by that, there's no rank requirement. You don't have to have a certification and you don't have to have your CCAF, but that will put you above other applicants if you do. As far as certifications for SPD, you can have your ISHM certification or you can have your CB-SPD certification, which is Certified Board of SPD. And those require you to, study, take an exam, and then continue with your CEUs yearly, or depending on which institution you go with, whether it's ISHM or the CB-SPD. Also, there's also with ISHM, there's a central or certified healthcare leader certification as well. So once you get your ISHM certification, you are in management position. Doing the CHL, the certified healthcare leader, would also give you a leg up over other applicants for the position. The workload and hours for SPD consultant, it's going to depend on what's happening in the SPD realm. When JCO comes or the Joint Commission comes to your facilities, they hit on different topics. The last one I was within, they were all about the endoscopes. So there are going to be different things that you're going to be focusing on at different times throughout the year. I know when I first started in November, there was nothing going on. Just recently, probably in June, I've been asked to follow up with MTFs having issues with their SPD, being able to provide virtual staff, but in reality, if we weren't in our healthcare crisis right now, I would go to the base, or the SPD consultant would go to the base and check out their processes, see what they're doing, making sure the documentation is correct. So that's also something that's required of this position, is to have to travel. As far as what made me want to do this job is that I've always had a special place for SPD in my heart. I've worked in SPD in every base I've been at. As I progressed through the ranks, I eventually have managed them. And I just feel that SPD gets a bad name. SPD is always blamed, and it shouldn't be that. And I wanted to change that culture. I wanted to make it, we, in many facilities, we are the heart of the facility. We are the ones who get all the instrumentation, make sure everyone has what they need to perform their surgeries, their minor procedures in their clinics and things of that nature. And I just wanted to bring a different light to SPD. So that was one of the reasons that I wanted to be an SPD consultant. And what I expected from this job, and like I said earlier, when I first started, there was nothing going on. So it was just, I was just like, oh, okay, I don't know. I was waiting for things to happen. And all of a sudden, a lot of things happened. And a lot of people are asking for my guidance and for suggestions. I also have done the CDCs with our CDC writer. I have also revised the SPD portion, or just reviewing it, making sure the content was still efficient or effective and what we still do. So things of that nature, people are going to reach out for you or to you, and it's a lot of times done on, it's an additional duty, so done on your own time, bringing stuff home, reading it over, and making sure you're helping your people out who are asking for your help at the time. What you can do with SPD consultant, at the end of the day, right, you're done with your military career, what you can do is, for me, I have my CCAF and I also have my CRCST. That's the certification you get from ISHM. me looking out, I don't want to do SPD, right, when I get out, but I'm just keeping all my options open. If you look at an SPD management, in a lot of cities, they make 6 figures. So if you have your CRCST, and then you have your CHL, your Certified Healthcare Leader certification, hospitals are going to look at you to want you to come run their programs. So those are 6-figure positions. That is something you can also do besides being a scrub tech. That's another avenue you can go, but you need to make sure you have those certifications in order to do that, okay? Let's see what's okay, so the last part today I'm going to go over is how to apply for the position. So like I said, there are 3 positions. The way we were hired, it was staggered. So we stagger them so that there's not one person who knows all the info. Everybody doesn't go who knows all the information at once. Sergeant Avila's position should be coming up here in the fall. So after I give you all the requirements for the selection process, the CFM will send it out to your functionals, and your functionals will solicit, and then you'll send it back to the current SPD consultants for us to go over and review. What you'll need to, what I did when I did it was I had almost like a duty history. So my education, my certifications was all put on one application. You're gonna need your squadron commander's endorsement. They need to know that you're gonna have to go TDY to bases at times to check on their SPDs, which usually is probably like a 3 or 4 day trip whenever you do go, but you just need to make sure your leadership is aware and that they are okay with you doing this. And then you'll also have to send in your credentials. So if you have your CCAF, if you have your certification, you need to send that in to us so we have all that together. Once I sent that in, and everyone's going to get an interview process. I think it was about 10 to 15 minutes that I had my TCON, and they just asked me questions about why I wanted to do this, what's my background experience, and things of that nature. So that will also be happening when you guys apply. And now I'm going to open it up for any questions that anyone might have. So the question I have, excluding what's happening right now, the COVID, how many TDYs does the SPD consultant have to go on? The SAB I just completed probably would have been 1. So I'm assuming it's probably 2 to 3 a year. What's gonna happen is a base is gonna reach out to the SPD consultants to say, hey, I'm having this issue, or I just want you to come check my processes over. I just came back to the career field, and I wanna make sure that my SPD is good to go. So it just depends on who needs assistance at that time. So I'm gauging 2 to 3 for the year. This was the first one I had, and I had to do it virtually, which is fine, but you can't really put your finger on everything that's happening when it's virtual. So as far as the SPD consultant and shreds, the question is, can shreds apply for this job? I don't see why it would be a problem. If I were to shred out today, I'd still have my CRCST. I still have my certification. You still are staying current with all the happenings in SPD. I don't think it's a slick position. I'm pretty sure anybody can apply for the position. I'm not pretty sure, I'm sure. So there's two institutions that give the certifications. One is going to be the ISHM, which is the International Association of Healthcare Central Service Material Management, which I got my certification through. And then there's this certified board for SPD, or Sterile Processing Department. I don't know the exact criteria for that one. But for ISHM, each year, you have to get 12 CEUs, so you have to submit 12 CEUs per year to keep your certification going, and then you just pay a $50 fee for your certification. Let's see, I have another question. Let's give me 1 second. So the next question I have is, will the position be advertised on AMS, or is it through email? It's through email. It's not it's an additional duty, so it's not going to be a legitimate you're PCS in somewhere. It should come through the CFM down to the functionals, and then they're gonna spread the word throughout their units, and then submit it back up to the functional, then the CFMs. And then the next question, sorry, it's getting a little bright in here. The next, hold on one second, sorry. Who else other than the MatchCom functional and the CFM to discuss SPD info? So SPD is an overreaching entity. You're also going to be working with infection control consultants. You're also going to, there's a perioperative nursing service consultant, just like there's an SPD consultant. So there's other avenues that you can reach out to for guidance, or people might be asking you for your own guidance. So it's just not limited to the MTFs or the career field manager. It could be pretty much anybody who is has the MTF at their base and has the SPD or a DIPSI. The only people that select a consultant, from what I didn't ask this, and I can, when I was selected, it was a consultant who interviewed me. They had all my documentation, and they, the consultants amongst each other decided who they chose out of the best applicants. It's not the CFM or anyone else. It's 2 years for the position. The next question, I'm sorry, is how long are you in this position? So it's 2 years per the different consultant staggering. So if we put, excuse me, Sergeant Avila goes out in October. I don't know when, I think it's Sergeant Willis, he's deployed right now. So when he goes out, it'll probably be a 6 month from there, and then a 6 month from there for my position, if that makes sense. Just to make sure you keep that continuity and we all have been there for a while and not just wiping everything out and starting brand new from the beginning. I'm also asked, do we at the MTS have a direct line to, give me 1 second, communication with consultants? Or is there a leader? No, there's no leader of the consultants. I think Sergeant Avila is over in PACAF. I think she's in Japan. I know she's overseas. Sergeant Willis, I believe, is at Keesler, and then I'm at Fort Sam. So there's no right or wrong. There's no one who's in charge of anybody. It's just one of the three that you can reach out to. It's not specific. No, none of us are in charge. We help each other out, but there's no specific person that is in charge. And that kind of, so the next question was, are all three of the positions equal, or is there a leader of the consultants? And no, there's not. We're just all equal. What challenges have you heard when DIPSI absorbs the cleaning of instruments? Do you think dental should have additional SPD training? So I speak of DIPSI from my infection control experience. I was an NCOIC of infection control once upon a time in my career. And what DIPSI is limited on is their capabilities of, they typically just have a little, almost a dishwasher situation where they put their instrumentations in and they process it. If that was the case for, and they also use sterilizers, but if that was the case for when they're receiving instrumentation from the clinics, they need to be treated more than the way the DIPSI technicians handle their items. They don't typically hand wash, things of that nature. So I do think that they need additional training. I don't know what we can do about it at this point, because DIPSI and dental is a different realm than sterile, surgical technicians, but that is something that I do think they need additional training on. And I feel like the reason why they have hiccups in their situations is because it's not necessarily, the mouth is not a sterile, it's not sterile, it's just not a clean, it's dirty when they're doing their procedures, so they don't teach their instrumentation the same way that surgery techs do. The next question is, at one point in 2018, there was discussion about an SPD DIPSI course with the 4-in-1 instructing it. Is it ever going to be considered again? So I never heard about SPD DIPSI course. That would be beneficial for the DIPSI technicians to make sure they're processing their instrumentation effectively and on par with what's in our infection control or 44-108 AFI. That might be something I can reach out to the CFM and talk about, in the future. But at this point, I don't know if that's going to be considered again. Do you think that dental should consult with you for SPD issues? I do. I feel that when I was doing the infection control program, we also went to the dental, right? We're overseeing everything. And I believe that as the SPD consultant, they could reach out to me and ask me, what's my guidance? What's my view? Is there any evidence-based practice of the things that they do? Absolutely. I think that could be something that should happen, could happen. Yes. Does anybody else have any questions? Okay, well.
Okay. All right, if there's not any more questions, I'm actually going to hand it off to our CFM, Sergeant Nahar, for some input from him. Go ahead, sir.
Hello, everybody. It's awesome that we get another opportunity to learn a little bit about the SPD consultants. I think they're a huge key to what we do in our career field, because I'll be honest with you, right? When you're talking about at the leadership role, especially for me as a CFM or any MatchCom functionals are out there in other AFSCs that struggle with having a POC that or multiple POCs that can provide additional input, especially with some of those certifications and the training, the experience that these guys bring along is important, not only to our career field, but for others. So I definitely encourage some of you guys out there that enjoy working in SPD, that are detail oriented, that are truly passionate about how important SPD is, because like Sergeant Lopez had mentioned earlier, I mean, that's the focal point of the operating room. If SPD is not doing what they're supposed to in the and not following guidelines, policies, and recommendations, then that's where it has a huge impact of potentially shutting down ORs, because they tend to lose faith that we're doing the right thing in that department. I've managed a few SPDs in my career, and I know a lot of things have changed since I left the career field for about 6 years. So I know that these changes are good for the department, but I only recall things that we used to do back in the day that there's no way would be acceptable to today's standards. So we have to continue to not only educate ourselves, not only what's in the CDCs, but the checklist. There's tools like Sergeant Lopez talked about, the certifications, which, you know, it definitely, you open yourself for opportunities. People see certifications that you're the subject matter expert in certain, certain platforms within the medical arena. People are going to want to hire you if you decide to get out the military or after you retire. So definitely encourage you guys to at least pursue the certification. Right now is not being even considered for SP to have those certifications. I just think it just brings you more credibility when you're the consultant, or you're speaking on behalf of your department that states, hey, I have a certification, I've done my homework, I've done my research, so that when you're able to speak to the infection control preventists at your hospital, or anytime anything comes up, then you're the go-to person. So I definitely encourage you guys to educate yourself, and you never know, in the future could apply for one of these consultant positions and get selected. And that's something that's not everybody gets that opportunity. So Sergeant Lopez, thank you again for your time, for your expertise, for your knowledge. And I look forward to working with you, as I'm still, working since I stepped into this role, but I'm excited about the things that we have for the future of our career field when it comes to SPD and other things that are coming up. So I definitely appreciate that. So we'll see what what we get as far as people being interested in the position that's coming available. So, again, get in touch with your supervisor through your MTF functional manager and your MatchCom functional, so that we know that you're interested in the position, so that we can start working that and getting you hired into the position if you're selected for the job. Thanks for your time, guys. And I guess we'll see you in next session.
Thank you, Sergeant Nahar. So our next session is going to be on September the 2nd, and it's going to be for the NCOIC of infection control position, if that is a available position at your hospital. And that's going to be with Staff Sergeant Gilbreth at 1700 CST. And thank you for joining us.